Hi, my name is Adrienne Groff, and this is my Module 1 presentation. So a little bit about me. I am a first grade teacher at Lafayette. I was previously a second grade teacher and got moved to first grade this year. In addition to teaching, I'm also our extended day coordinator, so I create an after school program that's designed around STEM and work with 3rd through 5th graders with that. Outside of teaching, I am a part-time leasing consultant. So I work in a housing community within the Lititz area. And then interest-wise, so things that I'm interested in besides teaching, obviously, just sports in general. I also enjoy movies and playing with my niece and my nephew, as you can see in the pictures here. And then I also do enjoy traveling whenever I get a chance to. So why am I interested in STEM? So a big reason why I kind of was looking at doing this degree and this, focus in STEM was because it is something that is rapidly growing within our schools and something that I don't see going away or just being a phase. It's a way to challenge our students with real-world applicable problems for them and provide them with hands-on experiences that will ultimately help prepare them for 21st century jobs. So my definition is just that it's the combination of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics within our everyday teaching lessons. Ultimately, from what we did gather from the text, the overall goal is not to incorporate all 4 of those aspects within our integration, but to at least be combining 2 of them. A big thing that I wanted to highlight was that STEM is not different from what we're already doing for the most part. It's just providing students with chances to make more connections and grow their ideas, which will ultimately lead them further down the road to become better problem solvers. So why the importance? STEM is a huge part of our daily lives. Technology alone has rapidly increased through the ages. Students these days have a lot more at their fingertips than what most of us had as young kids. So I think it's important to make sure that we're highlighting the technology factor for them. But the biggest is just the fact that the STEM fields and the career opportunities, we talk all the time about how we're preparing our students for jobs that we don't even know will be available or we don't even know will exist at that time. So it's jobs that don't exist now but will in the future. So the big reason why it's very important for students to have a STEM education and have that STEM integration is because ultimately STEM is becoming the drivers of our economy. And our students need to better understand how to, find career fields and work through STEM career fields. Another is obviously looking at those 21st century skills. Nowadays, employers are not necessarily seeking the person that got the best grades in school, but more so the person that can work well with others, communicate clearly and effectively, have that creativity when it comes to solving a problem, as well as just problem solving in general, and really having a better understanding of how to do that and how to not give up in the midst of it. One of the key quotes I got from the second video, the STEM education video, with the interview was, and the guy was just talking about how math is so poorly marketed and how it should be better marketed ultimately because a lot of our jobs do involve math, especially within the STEM career fields. And he made a valid point saying that whether or not we feel like we're ever going to use the math we learn in school, the act of the task that we learned and the concept that we learned ultimately created what he called a wiring in our brain that really never existed before that. And it's that wiring in our brain that ultimately makes us a better problem solver because it's always something that we can refer back to. Another concept from the first video was just that they stated how more integration will ultimately lead to more students seeking these careers in STEM fields. And, we know through research that our women in STEM fields as well as minority groups within STEM fields is something that is lacking and we hope to increase. So one way that I've incorporated STEM into my classroom is this past year we did a gingerbread man boat where students were given the problem and ultimately had to create a boat using minimal supplies, tape, foil, popsicle sticks basically. And they just had to see how much money they could gather out of it. So we did incorporate the math aspect into it. And students had to obviously make it float. So it was cool to see them kind of go through that process of designing something And when it failed, they had to kind of figure out what about it failed and go back to the drawing board and improve upon it. So my goals for the course is just to better understand how to integrate STEM into my teaching, and really learn those best practices for doing that, as well as to, communicate with fellow classmates and discuss ideas, resources, projects that we've ordered in order to kind of create my own bank of ideas to move forward within my next year. And then the Easter egg that was listed in our syllabus was what my favorite cartoon character was. And growing up, Arthur was one of my favorite shows to watch. So I picked that as my favorite cartoon character. So I hope you enjoyed my presentation.